Iraq's largest Christian city now seized by ISIS militants. Tens of thousands of Christians are now fleeing for their lives. Our Nick Robertson is live in London this morning with more. Nick.
Yeah, Michaela, Karkush, this city just west of Erbil, the big stronghold of the Kurdish in the Kurdish region there. That town now under attack by ISIS. All the Christians from it pouring out of there, moving towards the Kurdish area, looking for sanctuary there. What is significant about this is that area has been under protection, if you will, of the Kurdish Peshmerga forces. It's right next to the Kurdish autonomous region, and what makes it significant is that the Kurdish forces have now pulled back. Until now, they've been sort of seen as the last bulwark against the Islamic State fighters as they've swept across the north of Iraq and consolidated their control over territory there. Now it seems that they are falling back, and the Christians from that town are being forced to flee. It's causing widespread panic in the town of Erbil. People there concerned about whether they need to leave that city, which is now only about 30 kilometers, about 20 or so miles away from the front line. So increasing concern about the plight of those Christians and, of course, the Yazidi community forced out of their homes into the mountains, desperate for food and water. That happened over the weekend, Michaela.
A California businessman is calling on the U.S. to do more to help Christians being persecuted in Iraq. Mark Arabo is a prominent leader of the Chaldean community, a Christian community, an ancient one that is now literally being threatened with disappearance. He joins us from San Diego, California. Thanks so much for being with us. It sounds, frankly, like a nightmare. A group of extremists bent on atrocities is now openly and officially targeting Christians in Iraq. What's going on?
This is truly a living nightmare that's not going away. Christianity in Mosul is dead, and a Christian Holocaust is in our midst. 7 weeks ago, we went to Washington, D.C., and we actually were calling this a Christian genocide. And since then, day by day, it's getting worse and worse. More children are being beheaded. Mothers are being raped and killed. The fathers are being hung. Right now, 300,000 Christians are in Iraq, fleeing, living in neighboring cities, just wanting a chance not just to survive, but to live. And we've been calling on State Department. We had a meeting at the White House last week with Ben Rhodes, myself and other Chaldean community leaders throughout the country. And what we're saying is folks should follow France's lead. They should offer asylum. The world community should come together. We've had tremendous success in Washington with Congressman Juan Vargas authoring H.R. 683.
I want to go back. Forgive me for interrupting. I want to go back to something you said, because the atrocities committed by ISIS are well known, but still you're startling me with the severity of what you're describing. You say they are beheading children?
They are systematically beheading children and mothers and fathers. The world hasn't seen an evil like this for generations. There's actually a park in Mosul that they've actually beheaded children and put their heads on a stick, and they have them in the park. This is crimes against humanity. The whole world should come together. This is much broader than a community or a faith. This is crimes against humanity, and they're doing the most horrendous, the most heartbreaking crimes you could think of.
Now, I want to ask you specifically about what happened in Mosul, because it was widely reported that when ISIS took control of Mosul, which, depending on how you do the numbers, is the second largest city in Iraq, they gave Christians an ultimatum, which would be to convert to Islam, to pay a fine, or, in their phrase, death by the sword. It's very clear they are killing people, but are Christians managing to escape by paying a fine? Are the ones who cooperate, at least, assured of any safety?
Sure. So the letter that they sent out with those three items, they did ask to pay a fine, but they're actually, after they pay a fine, they're actually taking over their wives and their daughters and making them into their wives. So really it's convert or die, face death by the sword. Christians, 95% of all Christians in Mosul have fled, and 5% have converted. They've marked the red death stamp of ISIS on Christian homes, and basically saying, we know who you are, and if you come back, you will get killed.
This is almost, I'm going to ask you, forgive me for interrupting, this is almost a kind of a plague out of biblical times. They're literally marking the doors of Christian homes?
They are, and with the historian with the letter N, to mark them as Christians, and that's why we're saying this is a Christian Holocaust within our midst, and the world community cannot turn a blind eye on something so tragic. So much of crimes are coming out. Children are being beheaded. Folks are being killed just because they're being Christian. It's happening right now, and France is leading the way. We're hoping other countries, we hope the United Nations recognize this as a Christian genocide. We hope everyone steps up and offers these folks a home, because this should never be happening in 2014, and it is.
Now, you're using the word genocide, and I, once again, acknowledging the atrocities of the crimes that have been committed by ISIS. Genocide is a very powerful word. Do you literally think that ISIS is trying to kill all of the Christians who fall in its hands?
They're absolutely killing every Christian they see. This is a genocide in every sense of the word. And they want everyone to convert, and they want Sharia law to be the law of the land. And we're talking about a place where Christianity was founded over 1,800 years ago. They bombed the church last week. That was 1,800-year-old church. And they're systematically destroying churches. They've already bombed 6 churches in the area.
And no one stopped them. Mark Arabo, speaking on behalf of the Christians of Iraq. Thanks so much for talking with us.
The naked follower, minorityhf.org. Thank you.